Kiran Maistry. Welcome to Future of Our People. It's a podcast series dedicated to leaders who are shaping the future of work. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Mansi Kampani, who is the Chief Human Resource Officer of Encube Ethicals. Over the last few years, Mansi has showcased a leadership and deep understanding of organizational dynamics, driving talent development and excellence at Encube Ethicals. Our journey from Mercer, India to her strategic role at Encube reflects her analytical prowess and HR acumen. Mansi, it's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Kiran, for such a warm welcome and a very sweet introduction. I'm really looking forward for a very insightful and a really nice conversation on a topic that really excites me. So I really hope this is a really engaging conversation and we enjoy it together.
Absolutely. Mansi, there are very few people where I talk to, right, but I'm so excited about you. You're one of those, and I'll tell you why. Because when I look at your career trajectory, right, from Mercer, India to what you became today, it's no easy feat. It's within a short amount of time, within a limited time, you've grown to a stature of as being a CHRO. So today we're going to discuss some of the best practices and also some of the challenges that you had to overcome to become what you became today. So let's start with a very basic, right, in terms of fundamental question, which I really want to know. What's your why? What drives you as a person, and how your why has shaped you to become what you became today?
So basically, my why will always be reflecting my actions, why I'm doing something, for what I'm doing something, and that will always be my company objective, and B, it's my personal beliefs that I resonate very strongly, and I can resonate it with the company objective. So I think that really matters a lot, because everybody has their own sets of values and belief, and it's very difficult to have it resonated with the company objectives or with people you're working with, right? I'm very happy to be in an organization which has very simple value system, which has 4 words: passion, agility, courage, and ownership. And I completely believe in these 4. And at the same time, one thing the company stands by, and my role as a CHRO, personally, I stand by, is growth culture. So I think growing organization always encourages not just the business numbers to go up, but I'm sure at every level, employees as well as innovation, everything to be at a growing exponential levels. And personally, being in a fraternity like HR and sitting here as a CHRO, I think the only dream that I have is that along with the organization, how I can ensure that every employee at Encube finds their own growth journey. How I can be that 1% of the growth journey in their lives, making a difference. So yeah, that's my always why. Like, anything and everything needs to resonate with these 5 areas, the 4 core values and the growth culture of the organization.
That's pretty impressive. In fact, fantastic, Mansi. I like the clarity in terms of what you got, right? Aligning with yourself with company objectives. It's pretty much required. Whilst we have our own personal goals, but you're there for a reason, working for a company, aligning yourself, your personal values, and aligning with the company values, and aligning with yourself with the company objectives makes a lot of difference. And that also, I'm a firm believer that also brings best of you and brings best of your employees as well. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely do. See, the thing is that if an individual only thinks about him or herself, and feels that how I will be growing, it's not very easy. I mean, for example, I myself will not be complete if my team was not with me, right? So 100%, if I am growing and if I don't give them that light, that how they can grow, I really don't think so that my growth is going to be complete without theirs. So at the same time, for an organization also, where company objectives, departmental goals that needs to be achieved, it can't be with one single individual. So it requires an army, it requires a complete ecosystem that needs to be created. So that's the reason I feel that, and also I want to believe that everybody is not going to be agreeing to everybody's, right? Like in terms of everyone has their differences and opinions, but the base core value, the core belief that we have needs to be in alignment with each other. So I think that really needs to be in place, and I stand by that completely.
And in fact, that's a spot on. Your beliefs shapes your leads to actions, and your actions brings the results for the company, right? And that kind of business acumen where you can translate that to your entire employee ecosystems, where you might have a disagreement. When we say disagreement is a difference of opinions, but when we are aligned with the company's objectives, right? That's what for me is alignment, right? How do you go about those things? That's a different things, but at least we all are aligned to some of the key results that company needs to deliver, and then you can based upon the goals and objectives. And I wanted to go a bit more deeper and deeper as well on that one, on those things. Before I do that, Mansi, first and foremost, as I said, I'm really truly inspiring. Your journey has been truly inspiring, right? Your growth trajectory, right from the beginning where you started at Mercer and now you being a CHRO. So is there any pivotal moment or experience that significantly shaped your career path and how you approach to HR leadership?
First and foremost, I will say that it's been a very exciting journey, and a journey with lots of ups and downs and a lot of learnings that I would like to say. But yes, couple of things that really helped me in this is definitely having a sounding board. So I have been under mentorship. And it's been really interesting there as well, because learning is it's a journey, right? And one cannot be self-sufficient in that. Like, you really need to evolve yourself, and sometimes I think it is very easy to be emotional. So to learn from an area of how to translate sympathy to empathy with practicality is very important. So like I am 24/7 around people, right? And how to channelize emotions, how to ensure that you are non-biased in this, because it's very easy to give an opinion, it's very easy to be judgmental, and it's very easy to give advice. I think advice is something that everyone feels they can give, which is true, you can, but it's not always effective, right? And at the same time, I feel not just as a CHRO and HR, I think my profession demands for sure, but as a person also, being less judgmental, taking things more lightly in terms of not having it taken to heart. I think that is a big learning that I've had in my journey, and I've realized it very well that don't lose empathy, but you don't need to carry sympathy with you, right? Because otherwise the problem is that you lose the touch on practicality, and when sympathy comes, biasness automatically comes. So the understanding of it's not a personal attack when it is a disagreement. It is basically something that two individuals are not able to come to a common ground, and you have to respect each other. So it's a very simple phrase that I've learned to understand is you either convince or get convinced. That's simple as that. So when you know this very well, you're very clear in your head that, okay, I possibly may not have that maybe I'm not able to convince the person, and I may have to get convinced. Now, whether that action is right or not, but I have given my consent to it, right? But I am okay with doing it because the fact that I've not been able to convince him or not. So the decision have to be together. It cannot be blame game that can happen. So all of these things have something that I've understood in my journey. Well, and it easily translates in my personal life as well. So now as a person, I see myself quite different than what I was, let's say 3 years back. But and yeah, I will not say that all the, I think the things that I've gone through, or possibly the incidents that have happened at the time that happened, of course, there were a lot of downfalls, a lot of cries, and a lot of upsetness. Like, it was really that. But then, honestly, when you see now back in the light, like, I think if it was not that, then today I wouldn't be where I am. And very important, the risk of failing. I think that is something everybody faces. Even I sometimes still date have that, but I think I'm trying to overcome it, because I think when you lose that part, right, like when you don't think about the results and you only think about that what you want to do, and you're doing it at the right time and not losing out on time, I think that really helps. So not prolonging your decision by thinking that, oh, if I do this, I will fail. Oh, if I do this, then it may not work. What will people say? What will this one say? Without thinking, please believe your guts and you can do it. That is really important. So yeah, a lot of learnings in that manner, but I've been really fortunate enough for the opportunities that I've gotten.
I think it's at one end you get the opportunities, the other end is you maximizing those opportunities, Mansi. And you're a classic examples where with your above the line behaviors that I often say, right? The above the line behaviors is what you can control on. And you channeled your behaviors towards maximizing those opportunity. And while in this entire journey, what I sounded like, you have to be empathetic, but yet you also bring compassion on the table, where you bring that wisdom, right? When you have to take collective, when you have, either when it comes to conflicts or taking some hard decisions, you bring that wisdom or compassion on the table. And you don't need to overly sympathize, because you can't move the business forward by just overly sympathizing it, right? So some of the examples that you've shared are pretty much spot on. And that's, for me, I wanted to understand how you went upon in a very short amount of time, at least as your tenure at Encube, right? Because over the last few years, Encube had a significant growth, not just talking about in terms of revenue, but also in terms of an employee growth as well, right? You had a very you had a good hire as well. I mean, that goes by the fact that you're a growth company, you have a growth culture as well. So my question is, how did you go about building high performing teams, right? At one end, it's great that you understand and leadership understands, but how do you translate that to a team is very challenging. Let's acknowledge that as well, right? But again, we wanted to get that some bits of nuggets or best practices that has worked for you at Encube, and hopefully those nuggets would be useful for our viewers as well.
Sure. One thing I would like to say, that high performing does not mean that it is getting you the best results. Okay, high performance means that a person genuinely, with full integrity, has been given his or her 100% to the actions, and is definitely working really hard, right? Now, as I mentioned, results is something very destiny based, right? You can only give your hard work and you can only give your 100%. So first, that realization, I think, is what I have given my team. I have tried to ensure that it is percolated in other areas at Encube as well, because the fear of results and always having this resonating high performance to best results, I think that itself makes a person nervous. Okay, and I feel that when a person is nervous, the person tends to not give it, or his or her 100%, needs to have that confidence. And surely that confidence everyone does not have, personally. You really need to instill it. So as leaders, I think that's our duty to do. So first and foremost, to encourage, as a leader, your individual key strength, key weaknesses, and key development areas. Second, to definitely ensure to identify your team members' key strength, weakness, and development areas. This only helps you to create a better ecosystem For instance, for a company to start, right, we cannot say that the founder is going to be the person who will do production also, manufacturing also, finance also, HR also, IT also. No, the person will have an understanding that to run a business, to produce this amount of goods, I require these functional leaders or the functional expertise who needs to come, right? And that's how an ecosystem gets created, and then the person is able to deliver, right? So individually a person can. Similarly, even if I have to say an example for my own self, for my team, I require a payroll person, I require an operations person, I need a talent management person, and I need a talent acquisition person. If I don't have these people doing the daily job, right, the mundane work, I will not be able to achieve, right? So that's very important to first identify key strength, weakness, and development area. I would also want to highlight that when you identify weakness, you should not misunderstand that with development areas. Development areas are areas where you feel the person has the potential to grow or you can grow. At the same time, the liking of the person also needs to be there. So, for example, my mother felt that I would be great with art and I should have taken art. But I knew that my liking was always towards commerce and human resource. So I had that instinct, right? So I tried and I developed that. But had I taken art, I may be doing it good, but I wouldn't be happy. So weaknesses it should not be misunderstood to be a development area, which honestly, a lot of times I personally had made mistakes while I was hiring team members and trying to work around, and it's a personal experience that I underwent, and I had to understand. And I cannot say it's that the person is misfit. No, the person is not misfit. It's you as a leader who needs to identify that. And that's how, because see, a leader does not require to know everything. A leader does not need to have a 100% knowledge on every areas, right? But definitely strategically the leader needs to work really well with the team he or her has, and we really need to ensure that how we can develop that together. So that's what I have understood in my journey so far, and personally I have worked around.
That's fantastic, in fact, Mansi. And thank you, by the way, for sharing that. And to begin with, you talked about that as a founder, he or she cannot be a chief everything officer, right? So it's very important to begin with, because I do speak to a lot of founders, I do coach businesses as well. So it's very important to invest in people, right? Invest in those functional areas where it is required for you to scale your businesses, right? You scale your business. So the way you said, right, what I understood is just to acknowledge the fact that you have to develop your functional teams and ensure that the expertise and capabilities are aligned to some of the key results as a business you need to deliver. And individually as well, you talked about in terms of the key element, in terms of key elements that you need to give in an environment for individual employees to enrich, right? In terms of roadmap coaching, looking at their strengths, looking at their areas for development. Is my understanding right? So touching upon that, Mansi, in terms of specifically what strategies or programs specifically you implemented in driving this high performance and ensure that your employees are thriving at work. Are there any specific programs or strategies that has really worked with you or has helped Encube Ethicals to become that growth engine?
So one of the key things is constantly having leadership trainings. So this means that soft skill aspect as well. So one of the key areas that we did this year was to understand accountability and delegation. That was really important, because as a leader, how do you ensure that accountability is taken, but accountability is not taken without delegation, right? So that was one area. So very, very strong sessions that we had, and very useful. Second is mentorship. We do have a program where we have a industry expert who is here, who does mentoring to a lot of senior leaders as well. And as I rightly mentioned, the leadership is a learning process. So to expect that all the senior leaders, be it CBOs, CFO, CHRO, it is not right to expect that they are 100% in the role that they are at, right? You definitely need to have a constant training sessions for them as well, because many times we do understand that trainings are done for the mid-level managers, or trainings are done for the freshers who come in, or people in the initial stage of career. But people tend to forget that training is something, or possibly like I say, workshops are something which every individual should be going through, because it's fun to revamp yourself, right? So that's one crucial thing that we follow. Other than this, very important, very basic is feedback. So to encourage 360-degree feedback, and personally speaking, I definitely have worked upon this, is that whenever you do any activity, or whenever you have any projects to do, as a leader, the encouraging part is not to only guide. The encouraging part is to always ask the employees to be involved in that by asking their opinion as well. So, getting a 360-degree feedback is very, very important. Time and again, to understand that, are you all happy? Do you think this is the right way? This is a good decision to take? And that's very important, because a person will never realize that how important he or she is in the organization, or in the activity that he or she is supposed to do, till you tell the person, right? But I think more than speaking as a leader, listening is something that is also very equally important. And we are not here to preach only, right? We are here to have a good harmony. And as a leader, I feel we are the driver's seat, like we're driving, but at the same time, if somebody is not there to give you the right direction, how are you going to proceed further? So you really need that directions to come also from the employees, because at least from HR perspective, I can say they are on the shop floor, they deal with the employees, right? And they are the ones who understand the genuine problem, because so many times as a CHRO, people don't come and talk to me thoroughly. They will give me a certain version of it. And when my people are on the floor, they are the ones who are going to have that touch base. So it's very important for me to definitely understand whether a training I think should be done is actually relevant or not, is actually useful or not. So that's why 360-degree feedbacks are very important. And like I mentioned on sounding board listening, that I think it's an art which you really need to develop, which I'm also developing, because so many times as seniors we just jump to say, no, you should do this, no, I don't think so. But no, you should give them the space to at least express what they are stating, understand what they are feeling. Even if they failed in a certain area, give them the chance to talk, not to have any because it's like a small child, when a child does not perform well in a certain exam, right? And if the mother is always just shouting, the child will definitely. So basically, it's like when a child is appearing for an exam, let's say maths, and hasn't done well, and the mother is shouting at him, and for having not studied properly or not doing it well, he or she will definitely be scared of the subject, and will never want to do it, even though has a great potential to do it, but will be afraid. Similarly, when it's a similar case here, if your team member is not able to perform and is not able to deliver, or has a problem in terms of particular project, while you shout or you say it's your fault, you've not been able to do it, or you've not been capable enough to do it, these words really linger with them, and sometimes they have their self-doubt that, am I really incapable, am I really not able to perform? And we don't want that, right? So the fear should not come, and that's why I feel that sounding board and listening is an art which every leader should definitely practice.
It's very impressive, Mansi. There are a lot of key points and takeaways for us. And one of the things that I loved about is the feedback system, right? We're giving an opportunity for every employee likes to be valued and heard, giving them the opportunity And also, if you want to drive a high performing culture, high performers would like to be involved in some of the decisions that organization takes, because that's where they feel that they are part of something, they are bigger than themselves. And what you shared in terms of that taking the 360-degree feedback, and also ongoing investment, right? In order to bring the best out of the versions, you need to keep on investing in your people wherever there is a knowledge skill or trait or soft skills, wherever there is required, or even if it is to an extent of or some of the technical skills that is required. The ongoing investment in people when it comes to training and development is required. In fact, I also loved about your classic example of accountability and delegation, which is often seen, based on my experience, often seen as a big challenge. And I really want to touch upon, and I want to get your best practice point of as well. So how do you define accountability at Encube Ethicals? Is it being given or is being taken? Is it proactive ownership for employees to take it, or is it being given?
Okay, very simple. Personally, I believe it's an act of trust and respect. Okay, so if I don't see, everyone does not need to like anybody to have trust and respect. Okay, you don't choose your manager, the managers choose you, which is the normal say, right? When you are interviewing, your manager is picking you. But at the same time, if the trust and respect is not there, this accountability or delegation will never come. So when I have the trust in my team member and the respect that I have, right, I will ensure that I am delegating certain activities. And if he or she in return respects and trusts me, will take it as ownership. So the accountability will come there. And from the organization perspective, the first part, the 4 core values which I mentioned to you is ownership, right? That is what we need to give. It doesn't come easy, but the only way of doing this that I feel, and I use it, to first ensure to tell every employee that how important his or her role is in the organization, is in the department, or is in every activity the person does. Starting from the security guard to our MD, so everyone has a role to play, right? It's like today, if the security doesn't come, we still are in fear because we don't know who is going to be coming, who is not going to be coming inside the organization if he is not standing right there, because he has a role to filter, to register, to have certain role there, right? So I think every individual has a certain role to play. Now, while you sit with your team and you explain that, hey, we have to recruit this individual in this department, and this is what you're going to be doing. If you delay your process, if you don't give me your CVs within 3 days, right, this is the impact the business is going to face. And that light, when I show it, right, the person is going to be, oh, that means if I give this person, I will be able to help the business to achieve this goal. And that is something which will come. So I feel neither it can be given nor expected to be taken. It definitely is the inside call that has to happen. So 100% the realization will only happen when the whole picture is explained to the individual. So I feel it's a very easy thing. However, when I say it's very easy, but when it comes in practicality, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of efforts to put in, and you have to put in that effort, I feel, because without explaining, without making the person understand, this will not happen. So I feel accountability and delegation is based on trust and respect, and at the same time, giving a clarity of the role of the individual is very important.
That's pretty amazing. In a way, I love the way you kept it very simple. It should come within yourself, right? In order to take ownership of any challenge or obstacle or any situation, it has to come from within yourself. That means you focus on what you can control rather than focusing on what you can't control, right? So these are very interesting as well. So I would love to know more about you, Mansi. So what is there any personal practice that you diligently followed that has helped you to become a better version of yourself?
Yeah, the personal practice that I follow is I like to listen to people in terms of their incidents or their areas, how they are dealing with things, because that genuinely keeps me relevant. So, while talking to employees, while talking to managers, while talking to, even the receptionist or the security guard, because I kind of feel that I learn a lot in their areas as well. So, understanding how they are overcoming challenges or what are the new things they are doing. Now, why I mentioned the receptionist and the security guard, because people generally try to believe that's a very mundane thing, it's a very monotonous thing, and they don't have anything, that can be challenging enough. But I don't believe that. I believe that every role has something to do, some challenges. Now, whether it's to, deal with, different set of people in terms of, temperament, because they do definitely deal with it, right? And they have the maximum, because people genuinely have, they don't have a conversation with them. It's always a transactional area that happens. So to listen to their stories also keeps me understanding, the learning about people. And since I deal with so many, it is really interesting to see, because every human is different. So that's how I kind of try to, keep myself relevant to. But other than that, definitely, reading materials or listening to podcasts or having these, discussions with the people from the fraternity or industry, I think it's really interesting to listen to all that. So yeah, and also because I feel that sometimes even mentorships are required. So as I mentioned to you, I do undergo mentoring as well, and it's really helpful. So that also keeps me, I think, sane and really like it. So yeah.
It's pretty impressive, Mansi. I like the way you put theory into practice by listening attentively and putting that into practice, right? Whenever the opportunity comes, you speak each and every employee, listen to their stories, listen to their versions. I often see listening is pay conscious effort, right? In terms of, I often use this example whenever I'm talking in seminars or anything, right? You sit in a meeting, you got your phone, right? That's not attentive listening. So it's so pay conscious efforts to make sure that you be respectful in terms of other person, that you really give them the belief that you're listening to them, right? Not having a phone, not operating phones. These are just basic things, but I love the way how you put theory into practice. And also I love the way you talked about is by discussion, learning and experiencing, right? You try to enrich yourself, you try to become better version of yourself. That's pretty impressive, Mansi. In terms of what advice you would give to young professionals who are navigating their careers in today's dynamic and often unpredictable landscape?
I think first is understand what are your aspirations, what you want to do, or understand your likings. Very important, because sometimes people just hear that it's a very rosy world. You can do, let's say finance is really nice, or marketing is nice, or now HR is nice. But until and unless you understand what you really want to do, you will not be able to do it, right? So for that, definitely, I think personally, what I did, and I really feel it's very useful, is do your internships, do your areas, understand every aspect if you are confused, so that you understand what you can eliminate. If you don't know what you want to do, it's best to do what you want to eliminate, right? And that's how I think I have come into HR, where I have tried my best with marketing or finance, and I've realized that no, this is what I really think I want to do. That really helps. The second thing is be patient. I think nowadays, when I see a lot of people coming in the organization, as well as people around me, I see people very easily lose hope, or people very easily are hoping to switch. So I'm not saying that continue within an area where you're not happy, but definitely give the opposite person as a manager or as the organizations a chance to work around. I'm not stating that an pleasant environment is good, but I'm definitely stating that just with one incident or two, don't give up. I think giving up easily is the most easy thing to do, but to definitely ensure and identifying your strength, weakness, and development areas will help you to navigate that very easily. So, patience is something which all of us need to cultivate, including me in certain areas I also lose, but I definitely feel it's very, very important.
We all lose patience and go below the line sometime, right? As you said, in order to get success, we need to go above the line where you can control. And I love the tip that you've given, be patient as well. And going back to internships, a lot of viewers often, in fact, they reach out to me about internships. So, do you, as a company, offer internships for young graduates?
Yes, we do.
We do.
We do.
So,
Yes.
if any of my viewers who really want to get into internship, what's the best way to reach out? Is there any generic email that you want to share, or what's the best way for people to reach out to your company for internships?
Yeah, we have a web page where we do have a career page. You can definitely reach out to us on that. Even on the LinkedIn page, which is Encube, you can definitely reach out there as well. And we would be happy to give internships.
That's amazing. That's pretty amazing. I know you also touched upon the aspirations. So finally, I would love to understand in terms of what are your aspirations. Where do you like to see yourself and your organizations in the coming, let's say, 3 years?
From now, definitely it's a growing organization, so for sure the organization, I really wish that the organization achieves what it is aiming for in terms of numbers, in terms of where it needs to position in the industry, and I really hope that happens. About myself, along with the organization, definitely I see that how relevant I can be in the organization at every stage in terms, because in terms of dynamical changes that happen, ecosystem, new generation coming in, new requirement from the employees that come in, along with being stable with the company objective, company requirements. I think to keep that balance going, I think it's very important. So how relevant and effective I can be, I think that's what I see. And at the same time, I also feel that I'm able to definitely be part of the growth journey of all the employees part at Encube, and giving them some kind of boost so that they are able to grow in the organization.
I think completely agree. Being relevant and being effective is what is required in today's landscape. And on that note, I really wish you all the best. You are a pleasure to talk to. Thank you for taking your time and sharing your experiences. What I love about this podcast is people like yourself being courageous and coming and sharing your experiences to the wider audiences. And also, and if any of our viewers are looking for internships, do follow their webpage, do follow the company page, and do apply for internships. And Mansi, thank you once again. Right, you've been phenomenal. I really enjoyed this discussion, and I really wish you all the best. And there are so many key takeaways and learnings that I personally took, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers would learn as well. But thank you, and I'm wishing you and your business great success.
Thank you so much, Kiran. I think it was a pleasure being on the platform and a topic that is so dear to me, and I really enjoyed discussing, and I really hope that we meet soon. And thank you very much.
Thank you.